everyone, welcome to Long Arm Wednesday. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. We're working on the stitch out that Pop did on Tech Thursday. Check it out. It's a really cool way he does it. And we've got it to stitch out here. It's Bruce the Moose. That's what we've called him. So actually there's two to do here. We'll stitch them both out. One's walking and one's standing, and I really like to do both of them so you can see what they both look like. But on a second note, lots of people maybe wonder how you lay out a quilt on a long arm or in any way, shape, or form. So you have your backing, you have your batting, and then you have your top. But to make sure that your top is going to lay out straight, I'm going to put this in the lock of the horizontal, the 0, and do a nice straight line. And then that's going to give me the ability, when I line this one, my top up, to make sure that it is lining up on a nice straight line, right? Because maybe my my leader has maybe warped a little bit, or it's got a bit of a stretch to it or something. It's canvas. It's going to do that, right? So, you know, making sure you're starting your project off correctly. Give yourself a nice base stitch, you're batting down, and then that makes sure that you know you're on this way and that way, and everything's nice and square when you start off, right? So just kind of pick a spot. And I did a nice big stitch. This is, well, 6.5. I mean, you can go a little bit shorter. And I'm just making sure it's locked on the 0, and I'm going to push the start button, and I'm just going to make sure it's going all the way across. See that nice straight line it's giving me? Nice and black. Choose a complementary thread to your fabric, or choose something like this and then just switch it out. If you happen to, this is, you know, we're going to stitch out the moose in black and go all the way across your project. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay. And then at this point, you can go and hit, so the axis goes the other way, comes down, do the 90. And then, you know you have a nice square corner right here. So when you line up your top, with the borders, or the top is just the way it is, whatever way it may be, you know you're coming to a nice squared up corner, okay? And then you can do the same way on the other side, okay? And then you just stitch down here. To me, I don't think it's a waste of thread. It keeps my batting in order. I know it's next to my project. It's going to be, oops, I want to go the other way. It's going to be rolled together as one. No batting is going to get tucked under or whatever. It's going to be nice and straight with the quilt top, okay? And then that gives you some great lines to start off with, to making sure that your project is going to start off nice and square and hopefully end up nice and square, okay? Let's just move that out of the way. Okay, so now that I have those lines already done, there's some fluffies on this, it's extra batting. Okay, and I just chose this nice, very naturey kind of green fabric, and I know I have a nice straight line because I just cut it, and I'm leaning up, putting it right up against that straight line. So when I go into the lock position to lock this down, okay, just let it flow. Okay. And you're trying to make sure it is as straight as possible. You don't want to start off on an angle. It's not going to get you anywhere fast. Okay. It's going to get you behind and probably the singing the seam ripper song. Okay. So bringing that right up there, you can see it's just below the line. Okay. And then I'm going to lock in the 0 position, just a little bit below that previously stitched line. Okay. And making sure that the top of my quilt top is right in line with the, just underneath that first stitch we made. See what I mean? It's nice and even. You know you're having a nice straight line. With bigger projects, you'd work your way from half over and half over. But because this is just a little one, I just went from right to left. Okay, keeping right up in that line with the edge of your top, okay? And of course you can roll a little bit closer to you so you're not stretching like I am, and you can always roll it back, right? But that just gives you a nice place to start off. and you know you're nice and square, and the start of your quilt is just going to be that much more, I guess, not necessarily easier, but more confident that you know everything's good, you know. Let's switch. Oops. There we go. And then come straight down. And it's just lining up right next to that fabric and to that stitch line. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this light green has a couple of little marks on it, but that's why it's great for using for practice stitch outs and stuff like that. Oh, we want to do the other side. Okay. And then come straight down. This is it's not a straight cut on this one, so that's my mistake. I should have straightened that up, but we're going to just come over just a little bit and give us a nice straight line to come down on. Just locking it in the 90. I trimmed the top, I forgot to trim the sides. I knew we were only going to stitch out a certain section, so there we go. Snug as a bug in a rug. Awesome. Okay, now we have our nice little canvas to work with here. Move our little threads off to the side. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room because I actually can have probably another 4 or 5 inches stitch out here. So I'm going to disturb poor Sophie. She's laying on a nice little comfy new bed I made her. But see if I can, I'll go around her here. Just give myself, I'm sorry, baby. Hello. Just want to give myself a little bit more room to get those moose to stitch out. There we go. She's got a little container there for me to fill with peanut butter after we're done. Just waiting. All right, so now I have all the way up from here, all the way down to here, and this is approximately, give you an idea, it can stitch out about 26 inches all this way in here, okay? That's pretty much. If we come down to here, that's about what 26 was, right? All right, now I want to make sure when I place my moose that I can make them really big, I can make them really small. It depends on what I want to do, right? But I want to give each one kind of ample space to click out. So I'm just going to take this off of hand-guided mode, give myself a boundary so Walt knows where I want to be able to stitch out this moose pattern. Oops. Oops. What did I do? Okay. Oh, must have clicked something else because it beeped at me. It's probably much longer than I needed, but that's okay. We'll give a nice big space for it to stitch out. Okay, so that's going to be that one. And then we'll move the other one over here. Give it a nice big square. And every beep, 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 beep you hear, it's putting a little spot on my grid. So I know I have that much space to put it in, plop that pattern, and I know it's going to be a-okay. I'm not going beyond my reach that way. I'm not going beyond my reach this way. It's all within the contained zone of where he can stitch out. He is in Walt the hard worker. I just supervise. All right, so what I want to do is select the moose that we have and do it as a repeat pattern. So I'm going to click it out. It says click a spot on the map where you want it to click out. So I'm going to move him just a little bit. So he's a wee bit smaller because he plopped out really kind of big. Okay, and I'll just move them just there. Okay, and I like that one, so I'm going to click OK. I like that one. And then this one, we'll put repeat pattern, stitch over here. It's just a wee tiny little moose. All right. It's interesting how they get saved and how they interpret each other. You know what I mean? Like how they get saved and then put in the file. Okay, I like those. Those are good sizes. You can see how they both work. I'm going to put one just a little bit lower than the other so they kind of maybe look like they're in the same field. All right, and then we're going to start quilting. And Mr. Walt's going to do this one first, and then he's going to do that one. And I don't know how long these are, so you're just going to have to wing it with me. And I chose black thread on this very light green so you can see every single detail of how this moose is going to stitch out. And because he puts locking stitches at the beginning and the end of his stitch out, I don't have to worry about trimming 2 or 3 inches away and then having to feed them all in, threads in afterwards. These do a nice, it's a lock. So we haven't had this stitch out. I don't know what it looks like. I've only seen it what you guys have saw on Thursday night's Tech Talk, and that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Hopefully you get a chance to check it out. It's one of the many designs that Pop has done for us at the quilt shop. He's done the beaver, the fox paw, and now these 2 moose. Mooses? Moose-eye? Moose. We're calling him Bruce the Moose. Because I had an Uncle Bruce. I'm not saying he was a moose, just saying. Bruce the Moose sounds kind of cool. Well, let's just doing his nose. There we go. Very cool. I like it. And of course you could shrink this, expand it, do it as a main wall hanging, and then add texture with your stitches or some hand applique, some embroidery, anything like that. You can do it small, put them in borders all around a nature quilt, put them in the squares, you know, make it as a block. You know, he fills up a pretty good block. Do a little tree here, a little cloud there, and boom, it's filled up, right? So, I mean, it's a fantastic idea, and thanks Pop for doing that for us at the quilt shop. I like it. Looks good. It's doing the antlers. Doing around the ear. Very cool. It's almost there. And then we'll stitch this one out. And you can always add, like I said, some decorative stitches, stitch out so there's some fur. Go look at a moose photo and you'll see that around the face is dark, around the back of the body up here is dark. And then you can leave some of the other part really light. So just do some decorative stitches in here, maybe some McTavishing, some loops, some whatever, maybe just some meander, really tiny and tight. Or just fill it in with a little zigzag or whatever. It's almost there. Perfect. Bruce the Moose #1, welcome to your debut. All right, trim those up. Pop over to the next one. Just gonna move on over. I could have flipped it the other way too. See, that's all the benefits of the software. Bigger, smaller, flip it, flop it, whatever. Angle it. Going up and doing the antlers first. Or, yeah, antlers, right? I was going to say a rack, but is that what they usually call them, is rack? Okay. I'm not no hunter. I kill fabric. With my rotary cutter. Scissors. It's cute. I like that one. Looks really good. Like a tan background and a brown stitch out. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Instant wall hanging for somebody's cottage, hunting lodge, fishing shack, whatever. Be really kind of cool. Think outside the stitchery box. I like that depth of dimension on those antlers there. That's really neat. You can really see how he's it's turned up, you know, like I had antlers. Very nice. Oh, down the back. That looks really neat. Stitch it out exactly how I see it up on the screen. So it's really nice. It looks really good. We're gonna have more nature ones coming your way, doing it exactly the same way. Pop will show you how to do it. And just pick a few more of our Canadian nature critters that we have up here and go from there. And if anybody has a special request, please let us know. You want a specific animal? Let us know. Very nice. Excellent job, Pop. Excellent job. Very nice. I didn't have to put the tacking stitches. You heard it already lock. So I could just clean up those little threads there. No big deal. Very cool. I like it. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah, and then I'm going to actually put the beaver up here and the fox down here and the paw in between, and we're just going to save this as, you know, it has a nice long piece on it. So I'm going to just, whatever all the animals that we end up doing, I'll just load this piece back up, put another little chunk of batting underneath, test it out, you know, make sure it's right, and we save it to the software. So we need to do a test, and you were the test subjects today. You get to watch. All right. So thanks everybody for watching and liking and subscribing, and check us out on Patreon. We could certainly use your help. It helps us keep us going. And we'll see you on Weekend Project when it's our first start of charity quilts for February. Every single Saturday on Weekend Project, we're working on charity quilts where we're going to try and feature the kids' fabric that we have. Do that as a main piece, and work off really easy patterns you can do for your own kids, but I'm going to make them for charity. So hope to see you then. All right, take care everybody. Have a fantastic Wednesday, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.